My name is Jan. I was born in a tiny town, Emerson, Nebraska, in the height of the Depression. I had a sister and a brother. They left when I was about 9 years old. One got married and one went off to college. So I kind of grew up an only child. My dad was a pastor, had several parishes. So we went from Nebraska to Longview, Washington. He decided to come to San Diego. My dad always told us, be yourselves. People will love you for that. We don't put on airs. We aren't any better than anybody else. We sin like the rest of the people and ask for God's forgiveness. That's the way I was raised. My mom could stretch a dollar farther than anybody. The farmers would bring fresh vegetables and chickens and things like that for us. Our family laughed a lot. We sung a lot. During that era, most of the education was focused on the son. We girls were supposed to find really good husbands. My mom was very ill for a lot of years, so straight out of high school, I went to Sears Roebuck and applied for a job to help pay the bills. I had a wonderful boss in advertising, and I started out as a dispatch girl. My boss said, I see this spark of creativity in you. Let me mentor you. I received 4 years of college for free. You learn to write exciting things about garbage disposal, a stove, a refrigerator. I got promoted a couple times, finally to an advertising layout artist. I worked there almost 6 years. I was dating a Navy SEAL at the time. After church, he introduced me to his fellow naval officer. Bye-bye, Gino. Hello, Hugh. It was instantaneous, the attraction. We would all go to the Officers Club on North Island. This particular Friday night, in walks my future husband. Came over to the table and said, hey, Gino, do you mind if I dance with Jan? Well, Gino had been through Hell Week, and so he was getting well on his way to being blitzed, we called it. What happened is me driving Gino's car to the base, unloading him. Hugh was right behind me, and he took me home. We kind of dated in between Navy cruises. We were sitting at a stoplight, getting ready to go see his parents, and he looked at me and he said, I am so glad that you had Gino in your life because he's the one that introduced you to me. I loved your wit. I loved your love of life, how you looked at the good side of things. I'm going to be shipping out. Would you marry me? Before he left the Navy, he ended up to be a full lieutenant. He came back from overseas. In the meantime, his school teacher mom had contracted cancer. We went back on a 30-day leave and took care of her. Our daughter was born in Ohio, Lucinda Marie. She goes by Lynn. A couple years later, we had a son, Brian. 5 years later, we had Darren. We agreed that even if we had to be frugal, that I would be a stay-at-home mom. He worked 2 jobs. We have 7 grandchildren, including one with autism, and then we have 2 grandbaby angels in heaven. That's the best job in the world. He's a retired school teacher. They lost their baby was stillborn. They were in process of adopting 2 little girls from China, and then China shut it down. And our son, he is married to a nurse, and our Christopher is our autistic grandchild. My background was in special ed, and what a blessing that was to be involved in that and to really know what made him tick. Our youngest son is a single dad, 3 young children, as well as an older daughter by a previous marriage. I love to paint. This disease I have, which is fibromyalgia, I've had to give that up. My hands don't work so well anymore. I've always dabbled in craft. After taking care of my husband the last 5 years of his life, I had a massive stroke in March of 2019, and he had passed away in February of 2018. They said that when they got me to ICU, they were able to give me a TPA shot. I had a blood clot that was traveling to my brain. They were able to break up the clot with the shot. They said, I kept saying, please, Jesus. The nurses and my doctor thought I was fighting to live. I was really wanting to go to heaven and be with my husband. My faith has always gotten me through. 59 and a half years when he passed away. Loved me with all his heart. Loyal, loving father. Always involved with the kid. The absolute love of my life. He was very high on education. All 3 of our kids have their degrees. 2 of them have their masters. I found something I could do to help them because they wanted to go to Christ Rice College in Irvine. And so I opened a house cleaning business with a partner about 7 years. And so they all got to go away to college. I was living in the colony. Very lonely though. We made a family decision while I had recovered so well from my stroke that I should be somewhere where I had people around, medical care if I needed it. Dear friend Marilyn, I talked to her over the years after she moved in. She told me how much she loved it. I loved the dining room. The staff was very warm and friendly. This year has been tough, but hasn't it been tough for everybody? We're not alone in this. I thank God for every day. I wondered often after my massive stroke, why did God keep me alive? What was my purpose? And I think I found it this year. And that was just trying to be a listener, trying to encourage and help people. I loved having church, the highlight of my week sometimes. We have Laurel here as our acting activity director, Laura in the beauty salon to perk us up. I think our administrative staff really have done an awesome job in trying to keep us safe, and the caregivers who showed up for work. The housekeeping, I just have tried to model an attitude of gratitude for honoring us and loving us enough to come to work. That's a real sacrifice. There are 3 men who had such an impact on my life. One, my dad, my husband Hugh, a man named Don, a resident of Renaissance. I really have been touched by their grace, faith, courage. All 3 of them passed away with a terminal illness, and how they face all of that will forever be in my heart.